Hello and welcome to the 12 Days of Tarot. Today we're going to be doing a pick a card reading on what's my life purpose. So I actually had a different video planned for today's installment, but there's a huge calling out with the winter solstice and the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius for direction as to where to place our focus, where to place all this passionate energy that's getting ready to be unleashed. So if you are currently struggling with the idea of where to direct your energies, this is the reading for you. We have 3 piles that we're choosing from with both Moonchild Tarot and Total Betty cards, and they each are accompanied by a crystal. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go over your crystal selections so that you can kind of feel out which one of your piles is yours, and then we'll dive into the readings for each of the cards. Pile number 1 has this little green sparkly crystal, golden stone type vibe. You can't really pick up the sparkliness, but it's there. So if this feels like it's a good stone for you, you're pile number 1. Pile number 2, we have our tiger's eye. So if these dimensions are calling out to you, you're pile number 2. Pile number 3, this Dalmatian stone. So if this looks interesting to you, then you're pile number 3. Take a moment, mull over those stones with keeping in mind your idea of wanting to find a purpose, wanting to find where to put your focus, where to put your direction for 2021 and beyond. And whatever stone was calling out to you, we'll dive into those piles now. So starting first with pile number 1, the little glimmery green and gold stone. We have a Total Betty card that is Venus. So Venus is played by Alanis Morissette. She is the goddess of love and beauty and luxury. So this is a good card to come in regards to life purpose, where you are wanting to surround yourself with things that feel really good and things that feel fun. Like, luxury is not just about having the things that you need, it's about having the things that you need that feel beautiful. The cards that are coming in regards to the energy and the advice for this group are the 7 of Cups as the energy card and the 8 of Swords as the advice card. So the 7 of Cups coming in as the energy implies that there's some daydreaming that needs to happen in order to really tap into this energy of what your future calling is. It might be that you have several different avenues that you're equally passionate about, and it's really hard to figure out where to channel your focus and channel your attention. And the 8 of Swords kind of comes in with a very similar energy as well, that you're feeling a little disillusioned by what direction to take. So there is some uncertainty in this pile number 1. So I think a lot of the energy here relies on the goddess Venus, which is to find the beauty and the passion and the ability to create luxury in all things. So there's definitely a feeling here that the pile number 1 group is going to have multiple avenues, and that's okay. We're kind of coming from this place of being conditioned into thinking that we need to find our one career and be stable for a lengthy amount of time in that and let that be our whole livelihood for our lives. And this is kind of the multi-passionate group that's coming in with pile number 1. It's saying that you need to make peace with the idea that you're never going to really fully be able to define yourself as one thing. And that's because you're the type of soul that is going to feel restricted if you are in that position. If you're in a position where you are just one thing for too long, it's going to create unrest within you. So this pile are the people that you're kind of learning to shun the idea that culture and society puts upon us that you need to be clearly defined. And the way that you make peace with that is by being very much in this Aquarian age energy, which is about being present from moment to moment and defining what your passion and your mission is in each and every day. Which means being highly present in each and every moment and defining day by day what your mission is. You need to be deeply, deeply connected to that inner voice, because that's gonna be what's gonna hand you your assignment for the day. So I would say to really up your meditation practice. I know I say that a lot on this channel, but if you don't have meditation as a daily practice, I would put it in the day, and I would recommend putting it in the morning. Because for you people, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of entrepreneurs in this pile. There's gonna be a lot of sort of gig economy workers in this pile, and there's gonna be different choices for you each day to choose from as to where you're gonna put your energy. And you're gonna have to tap into something that gives you that answer. So within the energy of the day, you're gonna align yourself with what feels best. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is meditation. And that's when spirit comes in and sort of gives you the definition of who you are that day. So allow yourself to be okay with that, to play different roles from day to day and embrace it really. Like it can be really fun to wake up and be like, okay, meditate. Who am I today? What hat am I putting on today is kind of what this group is. So we're gonna pull a couple more cards on this just to give a little more clarity on the situation, because those were some really fuzzy energy and advice cards for this group, and I wanna really make sure that we get some clarity around where you're putting your focus. So we're gonna pull a couple cards just to give an idea of maybe the areas that this is gonna go into. So the first card that's up is the Six of Pentacles. So that is the card that I like to think of as watching fruit ripen on the vine. So the Six of Pentacles is knowing that just because you have a vine full of strawberries doesn't mean that they're all ready to pick at once. They all ripen at different times, and you don't want to pick an unripe strawberry because it's not going to taste as good. And you also don't want to leave the ripened strawberries on the vine too long because they're going to go bad. So that's kind of coming back to that idea of like in the day, like you're going to sit down in your meditation, and that meditation is going to help you tap into which strawberry is the ripest that day. Which one has the most juice and fervor and life to give you that day. And sometimes that's going to be different than what you expected it to be. Like you may go to that vine of strawberries and think you're going to pick the one to the left, and then you're going to pick the one to the right because it's getting ready to fall off the vine. It's so ripe. And that's okay. So it's about feeling into that energy and letting the assignments tell you when they're ready to be completed rather than your own agenda. And that's a lot of like letting go of the Capricorn era mindsets. Capricorn, we want very much to like have the structure of like, this is the deadline for this, and this is when I work on this. And that's probably not gonna be what it's like for these pile number one people. You're gonna be really just really feeling out the energy. And that means you really, really, really need to tap into energy often to be able to feel those things. Whatever it is that you do to release the energy around you so that you can really kind of clear the slate, that's going to be really important going into this life mission. The next card is the Death card, which to me tells me that there's going to be lots of mini deaths and rebirths of this life purpose. And that's because, again, you're going to be putting on different hats every day or every month or every year. And that's okay. And sometimes there will be something that you're really passionate about and you channel lots of energy in for like months at a time, and then it just gets completed, and that's where that part of you sort of dies off, and that's okay. Follow the inspiration and don't feel bad about leaving something behind when it's no longer serving you. And also don't feel bad about letting something be reborn if it comes back into your life unexpectedly. There's a really good energy of just the ebb and flow, letting it come in, letting it go out, letting it come in, letting it go out. And you have to really let go of the plans and the expectations that you have for your career in order for that to happen. So wherever the energy is pulling you on day to day, that's where you put your focus. And through that, you're gonna find justice. You're gonna find a little bit of balance there. And also a little bit of karma, recognizing that the universe will support you if you're channeling your energy into the messages that are being sent to you rather than to your own personal agenda. So again, there's a very, very deeply spiritually connected area here where you are gonna have to find that little space for yourself to let go of plans, to let go of outside expectations, and to go with that flow. And of course, know that Venus is there for you. Maybe listen to some Alanis Morissette. She's representing my Venus goddess for a reason, because she definitely embodies that sort of ever-changing to the Gemini, so she's got the duality going on. So yeah, it's a really good energy for finding all parts of yourself. For my pile number two people, Tiger's Eye. Let's see what we got for you. Your goddess is Kali. played by 90s era Jenna McCarthy. And she is the creator and the destroyer of myths. So she is telling you that you're going to be doing some breaking down of old systems, of old paradigms, both for yourself internally and for the world. That's part of your life purpose, is breaking down things that we used to think were true that are now no longer relevant. And that's supported by your 2 Moonchild Tarot cards. We have the energy of the Knight of Wands, which the Knight of Wands is a very adventurous card, a very spiritually connected card, but a card that's not afraid to sort of dive into the thick of it. And then we also have that accompanied by the King of Cups, which is a creative card, but also a really, really good leader. So for pile number 2, I feel like you guys are the revolutionary leaders of groups. So you are the ones that are going to be connecting to your spirituality and to your creativity and leading people forward into a new age of something. This feels like it's dualistically spiritual and creative. So you could channel this one of both ways. You could be more of a spiritual leader. Maybe you're, a spiritual coach or a healer of some kind. Or you could also be a creative that's putting things out into the world that are going to shift the way that people think of things. But whatever way it is, it's really all about the life purpose of breaking down the myths, breaking down the ways that we used to look at things that are no longer relevant, that are now moving forward in a different direction, that you now show people this and lead them out of the way that they were doing things before and into a new way of working on things. So yeah, there's a lot of coaching energy in this group, a lot of political activism and social activism in this group. So again, we're talking about life purpose here. So I know I had a little preamble that was kind of about, livelihood and how you do your career, but your life purpose could be different than your career as well. So if this is something that you're just doing on the side while you have a job that pays the bills, that's okay too. But this is really what your purpose on this planet is to be a leader into this new age. I would venture to guess that maybe there's a lot of Aquarians in this group because this is the age of Aquarius, so you kind of know where you're leading the energy. The Aquarian energy is very much about the collective, about what is good for the world at large rather than what is good for the individual. So definitely contemplate what those concepts mean to you and where you feel the most called to put your focus. So you probably already know what your activism is. You may not know that you know what your activism is, but whatever it is that you're really, really concerned about in the world, that's where you're meant to lead. That's where you're meant to be an example to others and maybe even put out an instruction manual for others. If you're a writer or if you are coaching people and you can instruct them in that way, there's very much an energy of you know more than you think you do about how to survive in this world and how to thrive in this world in a way that is very spiritually aligned and in a way that is very good for the world at large. So if we pull a couple more cards for this pile number 2 group, these are some big energies, and I already get the feeling that there's lots of different avenues that this is going to be channeled into. So I don't want to get too specific with the type of activism that we're talking about, because for several people watching, it's going to be different. During the age of Aquarius, we all have our own part to play. And that's really important because there are a lot of things in the world that need our focus and attention and need healing right now. And we can't all do all of the things. So whatever you're drawn to is your assigned role. It's what Spirit has told you that you are now assigned to work on because the rest of the world is working on other things. So you need to really rally for that assignment and make sure that you show up for your calling. So the 9 of Pentacles is coming in these extra cards. And that tells me that this can particularly be a lucrative life's purpose. So it really could be something that you are making a career change or enlivening your career in this field. Yeah, the 9 of Pentacles is indicating that you may not have everything that you need from this, but you're gonna have enough. You're gonna get what you need to live this life, to do these things. There's sort of an energy here of like a donation, grassroots, a feeling of being supported by the collective in order to do what you do. So it might be something that you are, if you're a creative, maybe you have a Patreon and people support you that way. Or if you are in a particular field where you're, you know, raising money or raising awareness for a certain cause, you end up with a group that is supporting you in that way as well. So there's some philanthropy that could be supporting you in this endeavor because it's so important to the world and other people are going to see that. So be okay with the idea that your income may not come in traditional forms. It may not be something where you're going and you're working a 9 to 5 and you're getting that, you know, like the salary and, you know, bonuses and things like that. It'll be something that you may have to have a little more trust in the universe that things are coming in to support you. And it may come in spurts, it may come in, but it's still going to be enough. The Nine of Pentacles says that as long as you're following with this calling, you will be supported. The Strength card is coming in, which feels like a no-brainer for something like this. If you're working in activism, if you're really trying to change the way that the world views and sees things, that inner strength is going to be so important. And this is just telling us that you're fully capable of that. You have this inner strength. The Six of Cups is coming in saying that this is also deeply connected to your childhood. So whatever it is that you're finding this activism for, finding this cause from, it's gonna be deep in your psyche. It's gonna be deep in your cells from something that you experienced in your childhood that you now can speak up for, and you can now help the world see things in a different light. And again, you have that goddess Kali coming in to help. She is a badass. Kali is the destroyer of everything and rebirths everything as well. So I would recommend maybe reading up more on that goddess because she's a really powerful deity to have in your corner. And she will really help you to help the world break down their old paradigms. For pile number 3 people, my little Dalmatian stone, your goddess is Minerva. So we got some communicators in this group because Minerva is definitely about, she's got a little bit of war and badassery to her, but she's about clear communication and wisdom and education. So I'm gonna guess that these are gonna be maybe some teachers, maybe some writers, definitely a lot of communication coming in with this group. So the energy card that comes up from the Moonchild Tarot is the Two of Cups, which indicates that there is a lot of love and romance circling around this group. I would maybe say that you might be an educator in love, sex, psychology, relationship psychology. You also could be a writer about these things. You could be writing from a perspective of having studied these things, or you could be writing from a perspective of your own experience that's going to be helping the world see that in a different light. So your advice card is the Ten of Pentacles, which implies that this actually is supposed to be your main livelihood. I feel a lot of writing energy here because of Minerva being a good communicator, but again, writer or educator. If you're the type of person that's doing that sort of on the side as sort of a hobby or a side hustle, this is saying that you probably can take the leap away from the thing that's not your life purpose to do this as your full-time job. And it actually is probably going to work out better for you because this really needs much more of your focus and energy. So again, a lot to do with love and romance and sexuality and the way that we collaborate with others in our romantic relationships. So if that's something that you've been contemplating diving further into, it's definitely a go for that. And especially find a way to communicate it to the world. Find your avenue. Take a leap to write an article or start a blog or maybe host an online seminar or workshop in that field because the world definitely needs that. We need our interpersonal relationships to be peaceful and in alignment because we're trying to make the entire world peaceful and in alignment. So you are helping with the micro of the macro of the Age of Aquarius, because the Age of Aquarius is about really making sure that we can find peace as a community and care about one another in ways that are very respectful and peaceful and loving. And we don't know how to do that on a grand scale until we can do it on a smaller scale. So you are like the front lines of this Age of Aquarius because you're gonna have to be the first lesson that people learn before they can go out into the world and do the big, huge changes that need to be made. So a few more cards on this topic. The Three of Wands is coming in. That means that you have a lot of manifestation powers, visualizing the future, visualizing the things that you want in your career or in the world is a big part of your mission. The Three of Wands also indicates that there is a feeling of having people influence your ability to manifest, but also recognizing your own power. So I feel like some of you might be either writing or learning your own personal lesson that you're eventually going to teach others about codependency, because the Three of Wands is kind of saying like, hey, yes, other people helped you to get here, but now you can totally have the power to make this vision come true, and you don't need to be reliant on the other people around you. So particularly in regards to loving relationships, this is saying like, yeah, your partner's great, but they're not necessary for you to achieve your dreams. They're a nice little bonus. They're the cherry on the sundae. And that feels like that's a lot of what this lesson that you're teaching the world is from your own experience in that particular field. The card that's coming in next is the Tower card. So the Tower card is the tearing down of structures to the foundation to build something new. So I think there might be some counselors in this group that are helping couples sort of like rebuild the way that they communicate with one another and the way that they see their relationship. Or it could also be that you're writing about those things in that method as well. Yeah, it feels very specific compared to the other ones, but this one's a very specific one for a reason, because this is a really important thing that we're working on here. And then the Four of Cups is coming in to remind us to be grateful for the connections and the love and the relationships that surround us. So this is also about teaching others and communicating to others the ways in which we can find love everywhere. It's a big message in one of the spiritual texts that I love, A Course in Miracles, that we need to make our romantic relationships more friendly and our friendships more romantic, and stop relying on one particular partner to be everything for us. So the Four of Cups is saying be grateful for all the love around you so that you can then take some of the pressure off of your main partner. I relate very much to this card group. Lots of energy around taking the lessons that you've learned within relationships and putting them out into the world in a way that's easily digested by the masses. So this group is a really good communication group. You're really good about putting things into words in which people can understand them in a way that maybe they couldn't understand before. So that's something that you really have to look at and honor and utilize to your advantage in regards to being a part of your life purpose. Whether you are an educator or a writer, writing is going to be vital for this group. Putting things into words and down on paper so that people can take their time digesting it is really, really important. So my first piece of advice is just make sure that you're writing things down, both in your free time. Maybe do like morning pages, write 3 pages of free writing in the morning just so that you're in the practice of writing. But also, if you've been holding yourself back at the idea of writing anything, articles, blogs, books, workshop materials, it has to be on the page for some reason. This group has to put things down on paper. It has to put things down on the screen, whatever it is, whatever medium we're working with. It has to be in the written word for it to really reach the people that it's meant to reach. And then again, like I said, you have Goddess Minerva at your back. She's a badass. She's played by Angelina Jolie in Hackers, all about finding ways to hack into the system and reach more people and communicate more. So if that is your calling, you gotta follow through with it. I hope that these readings have served you well. Again, this is day 8 of the 12 days of tarot, so we still have a few days remaining. If you like these readings and you want more of these on a regular basis, my Patreon, patreon.com/Michelle Shea, is the hub where I put a whole bunch of stuff every week, every month. We have monthly tarot scopes coming up for the first of the month soon, so those are gonna be really important for this new year. And if you are interested in the Total Betty Goddess deck, if you want to have a deck of goddess divine sisters at your back to reference whenever you need a little assist in following your life purpose, michelleshewalker.com/shop is where you can find the deck and the coloring guidebook.